Acustica has released a low-pass filter plugin with the catchy name via the LP8. This filter plugin is based upon the filter of the ROLAND Jupitr 8 synthesizer and uses a combination of convolution, that is sampling, and algorithmic, that is coding, techniques. The madness which you usually can get with Acustica is reduced to having just 2 versions of the same plugin instead of 8 or 9. There's the regular version and a zero latency alternative of via the LP8. You can wonder why Acustica still hasn't managed to include a zero latency option within one plugin. That said, the zero latency plugin has 7.3 milliseconds of latency and the non-zero latency has 27.1 milliseconds of latency, both at 48 kHz. That makes you wonder what the use of the zero latency version really is. This filter has a 12 and 24 decibels per octave setting, with the 24 being the real filter sound. And the 12 decibel lets more of the original audio through. Besides being just a filter, there's a ton of harmonics added, which contribute to the smoothness and richer sound of this filter. Let's check via the LP8 with the good old massive synth. It has 3 oscillators set to saw wave and a slight detune. Let's turn on via the LP8. Instant 80s vibe, and it can function as a lovely sounding auto filter as well. On via the LP8 there's a preamp option, and the biggest difference I can hear what this preamp does is that it takes off the sharp transient edge of a sound ever so slightly. You cannot drive this preamp from within the plugin. You need to adjust the input level before using this filter. You can do that with a different plugin or gain staging in your DAW. Now, driving the preamp doesn't seem to do much on this plugin. So you're good with either turning the preamp on or off. Before we continue, please subscribe if you haven't already and hit that like button. This video is sponsored by DistroKid, the best choice for musicians looking to get their music onto streaming platforms like Spotify and Apple Music. It's fast and easy to use and affordable. Plus, with DistroKid you'll keep 100% of the royalties you earn and get unlimited uploads with every plan. Get 7% off of your first year with the link in the description of this video and find out why so many artists are using DistroKid to distribute their music. Now, when you increase the resonance of this filter, there's also a slight increase at the very low end of the frequency spectrum outside of our hearing range. This probably won't be an issue at all, but it could eat up some dynamic range. You can simply remove this by using a high-pass filter after this plugin. The plugin offers 6 oversampling modes, and I found that usually you don't have to use the highest settings at all. Actually, using none of the oversampling modes still results in a perfectly good sound. There is auto gain in this plugin, and I basically would have this on the entire time. The alive function introduces some modulation, which makes the sound indeed more alive or less stale. Now, just for fun, let's compare the Acustica filter against the one in Arturia's Jupitr 8 emulation. Both will use a 24 dB per octave filter. Now, there probably will be differences because the Arturia filter is inside the plugin and there could be processing happening after, even though I did turn off all processing, reverbs, EQ and so on. The reverb is added after the synth and filter. I really prefer Acustica's filter quite a bit. It sounds more resonant and more analog at the same time. There's a smoothness I really prefer. The Acustica via the LP8 filter sounds really good, and having such a filter at hand to use on multiple sources when you need that typical sound is always nice. That said, I find it a bit pricey with its price tag of €59. But just as usual, check the trial yourself to see if it fits in your audio tool shed.